Hello. Welcome to the live stream, everybody. Thanks for joining. I'm sorry, I'm right in the middle of remounting this guy from, I think, about 6 weeks ago. So 3 live streams ago. My name is Todd Rains, and you're in my workshop here in Allen, Texas. And I do this live stream every second Friday, and opposite of Cindy's. So you can catch one of us every Friday at this time. So glad to be here, and glad for you guys to be here and join me today. I have shown a few people that joined the comments at the beginning of the during the intro. So Cindy is here. So happy Friday, everybody. Thank you. And Connie, I think you're already into Saturday. So Connie's from down under, I believe. Or no, maybe you're, remind me. I might have gotten you confused with somebody in South Africa. But anyway, all parts of the world here. So thanks all for joining. Paul over in the UK and stuff. And Scott out in Visalia, California. And lots of people join it. Appreciate it. It's a beautiful day here in Texas. We've had some stormy weather, some rain, some cold, and now hot. So it's kind of all over the place. So hopefully the weather where you are is allowing you to get out and do some turning and stuff. So let me just kind of jump into it. And we'll if you got questions along the way, throw those in the chat, and I'll certainly take a look at them as we go through. So, but let's take a quick look at what I've got in my hand. So this is this little really sort of wildly cut piece of maple. Had a nice length to it this way, but I wanted the top to be flat instead of having it all crooked when it sits on the table like that. We're straightening it out. So I did that with the LEO drive about 6 weeks ago on my live stream, and I thought I'd just quickly try and finish it up. So I'm going to remount it in the same LEO drive, same pins, and if I take a look at the end here, I think I had it. I've got one of these pins sticking out a bit more than the other, so I had it set up just earlier this morning. So put that back into that central hole right there, and get that lined up nice and close. So you can see how off-center that tenon cut is. And in fact, if we go back to overhead, you'll see how crooked that is. And that's how much I have to offset it to get this top to line up. So I've got the tip of this high point and the tip of this high point the same. And then the low point here, the same as this low point over here. So these two low points are at the same level. So everything should be kind of leveled out. And that's what I like about that tool, is I can do that and level things out. So just make sure everything's tight. I've got my safety glasses on, freshly cleaned. We're going to put a quick tenon on here, and we'll check this up and finish turning it. It's really my Sorby step center is really not liking this too much. It is wobbling all over the place. I'm just going to blow the dust out of my face shield and stick that on as well. So hopefully this isn't too echoey, but we shall get it done. A little bit more speed. We'll take that stuff off. That feels solid there. Let's just take a look and make sure we got solid all the way around this tenon area. Looks like we do. I'm going to try and size it for a smaller chuck. It's a smaller piece. Got this little GK88 with little deep grip jaws on it. So that's about 40 millimeters. So we'll size it for that and put it in that chuck. Now my little tenon measuring stick doesn't grab onto this live center, so we'll just have to kind of go by the old school method. And I'm at about 50 millimeters there, which will be fine too. Those jaws can open up, I don't mind. Do that. I've got a fairly pointy sort of spindle gouge that I use for doing these dovetail tenons. And it's just a matter of rotating that tool in, getting that shape. Now these jaws have a deep enough grip on the first serration. Looks about 4 millimeters or thereabouts. So I'll take this down to the shoulder. We'll leave that shoulder there. And I'm just going to smooth out the edge of that corner. That'll be good. And I'll just take the corners off this bowl while I'm here. And I'll go from the opposite side to meet up with that so I don't tear that bark off. We'll see if we can keep it. And I'm going against the grain here mostly just to shape. Take a look at what we got. So we got a little bit of spalting and stuff like that. So it's kind of nice. A little bit of grain. I'll just clean up this a little bit more to the landing pad area of the jaws. And put a little return maybe. We'll leave that for finishing. I'll get in tight and just do a little bit of shear scraping. Also, just as fine bit of shaping here on the outside. And a bit more speed. Now it's got that bump. I'll probably be hand sanding this bowl. It's so small that it won't take long to hand sand. So let's go ahead and throw that in the chuck. And because I've got deep grip jaws, I don't need to worry about this guy down here. What is that noise? Oh, is that Joe? Joe's here. We can hear you, Joe, just so you know.
Sorry.
That's all right. So we'll get to Joe and Cindy, who are in the studio, in a few minutes. I'm just going to finish up this little bowl. It's been hanging around on my bench for a bit too long, so time to get rid of it, finish it, and we'll talk a little bit about the topic of this week's live stream, which was about sanding at the lathe. Not very fun topic. That's why I wanted to do a little bit of turning to kind of keep the chips flowing. So this is the GK88 chuck, smallest version that Axminster carries, and got the deep grip jaws on here, so kind of nice to have that little extra depth if you need it. And I'll go ahead and I did that. Move my trackpad, tends to do that. What was that? That was me. Yeah. Hot San Diego. So was that you, Joe?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Yeah. When you make comments inside the studio, it pretends it's me. So open up a Twitch or YouTube channel and you can comment separately there.
Okay.
But no problem if you want to post something general about vendor showcase or anything else going on. It'll just look like it's coming from me. All right, so I've got the big tool. We'll start with the big tool. I don't know how much of the rim I'm going to take out because it's kind of nice. I might leave it a little fat. Looks like it's going to hold. And I'll have to do some shaping or some sanding or scraping on the outside here to finish that off. So I'll maybe do that first. I do have a bit of torn out grain there. So while I'm here, I will do a little bit of scraping with the half round bar and teardrop cutter. I'll turn this more this way. Get the support on the bar all the way around the curve. So this is a T1 high-speed steel cutter. I've got on the half round bar to kind of get me a shear angle. A little negative rake, if you will, actually. So that negative angle allows me to scrape a bit easier. We'll just see how that's taking care of that. Looking better, just a bit more red at the tip here, and then blend that in. A little bit more speed. And the bottom I can sand by hand and stuff like that once it's parted from the inside turned. But we've got nice clear. I'll go to overhead and zoom and maybe focus a bit there. I think my focus changed a bit. Yep. All right, give me a second here. So we got rid of that tear out. There's a little bit right up. I got to get my eyes right down in there, sorry. Right at this very rim here, but otherwise the rest of it's gone. So do a little bit more right up there and see if that goes away. It's a very light sort of scrape. And right up here, got 99% of it. So we'll call that good. I'll get that last little bit there with sandpaper right up here. And I think why it's not getting there is because I'm coming off this edge here, hitting air, and it's kind of skipping over this a little bit. That's the thing about natural edge is once you start cutting air and wood, it's not quite the same on your leading edges here and here. So something to be aware of. You're going to do hand sanding. Those are what you're going to look at. So most of it's pretty good. We'll cut out the interior here and see what we kind of come up with. So handle over to the right. My bevel pointing in the direction I want to go. There's sort of the bevel angle. And then in and swing the handle back towards you. Let's get this sort of actually. We'll zoom that out a little bit just so you can kind of see. Sorry. This is a fairly soft maple, but easy to turn, also easy to tear out. So hence the tear out on the other side. So over. Pick the cut up. Kind of go deeper with the drilling side of things. I'm going to stop and take a look and see how I like that sort of wide rim. A little bit thinner, but not bad. It's thicker here than up here, so I've got to dive in straighter, deeper, I guess. So we'll do that first and then take another look at it. So what that means is, owie, poked my elbow on this live center back here. One of those things every wood turner does, so let's remove it. Okay, over to the far side with the handle. Go deeper in, straight on, and then turn the corner. And that'll change the profile on these wall thicknesses at the varying depths. So that should even them out. So yeah, now we've got more of an even wall thickness here as we do at the high spot, so that's good. So this thickness is consistent from tall part all the way down to the bottom. And I think I'm going to go just a little bit thinner on the rim. So not too much. I kind of like that, the way that bark looks. Turn the corner and create the bowl shape. Kind of flat bottom, a little thick at the bottom, so I'm going to go a bit deeper, but I like the wall thickness. It's thin up here and thicker down below, so I got to create more more curvature in the walls up top here. Just going to get my tool rest a bit closer. And let me go back to overhead for this one just to see. That's what I'm trying to avoid. I'm trying to avoid tapping this edge of the tool against the rim here because it is undulating, and that will damage the natural edge. So that's looking better all around the rim and stuff, and not a bad bowl shape. So we'll do some scraping in there. I've got just a little ridge down there to cut out. So let's cut that first. Pick up that cut. Follow it around without hitting the tool on the rim. That feels good. Let's do a bit of scraping. I've got a negative rake scraper. This is the robust version. And we'll do some scraping in there and figure that out. I'm not quite at center. Raise it up a little bit. Well, you guys can see okay. It's light enough wood. That up and down motion was just to get the middle because I'm not quite at center with the tool. And I'm just trying to clean up this. I'm getting some real bad bounce right here at the entry. Makes me think maybe there's a piece of bark loose or some more torn out grain probably. And it's the undulating nature of it that's really making it skip sound. I'm looking closely here. Let's see. This one. Bear with me as I zoom this a little bit. Now I got to focus that one, of course. Wrong way. There we go. So we're getting some nice clean grain. I don't feel too much, just a little bit right at that same spot on the outside. So it must be just a real punky piece right there. That's the only rough spot. So we'll try and work that a bit more, but otherwise the shape feels good. All right. Well, I think that's going to work. I've got just the slightest dimple right in the center. I'd rather have a dimple than a indent. It's going to be easier to sand out. And I think we're looking good there. So I'm happy with that. Let's pull that off the chuck, take a quicker look at it. And at some point we'll have to turn it around and turn the bottom off, but that it's looking like a little decent little bowl, little nut bowl. And we'll take the bottom off there and clean up the bottom. But let's talk a little bit, while I have that on there as maybe as a bit of a handle. Let's talk a little bit about sanding it now that it's off the lathe. Because when I do bowl and bowl projects where you can't sand the inside or really the outside, you can do a bit of the outside sanding, but you can't really get the inside fully because you got the tailstock in the way. So what that entails is sanding on the lathe. And one of the things I do is put a sanding mandrel on the lathe and turn that way. So we'll talk about that. Let me go through some slides here for a minute, if you don't mind, and talk to a couple of people that are here just briefly. Just going to clean up a little bit, bring my tailstock up. I get my trackpad back over here, and there we go. Cindy. Okay, so a little internal conversation there. So perfect. So let me just go back and check the chat to see where I've left off and say hi to anybody that I can there's lots of people here, so thanks for joining. It's really kind of nice that you joined here today. So Amy from San Juan Island, Washington, nice. Pacific Northwest. Patty Jennings, good to have you here, Patty. Barbara from Florida, nice. Earl, it's raining here in Seattle. Yeah, good excuse to be in the shop for sure. So if I've missed anybody up top, sorry, there's so many here. I appreciate it so much. So Dave, thanks for joining. Another Texas. Ian from across the pond, StreamYard site has been declared unsafe by Microsoft. That's interesting. I'll have to look into that. Thanks for letting me know. If you got more content or more error information about that, Ian, just send me an email if you wouldn't mind. We'll take a look at that. So let's see. Ron from Paynesville, Ohio. KK is here. Good to have you here. Let's see. Connie said close enough to Hamilton, New Zealand. Okay, 7:05 Saturday morning. Yes. I know there was, maybe it was you that said you originated from South Africa. I can't remember if that was it or somebody else joined. So anyway, good to know. StreamYard unsafe. I know what will happen. Yeah, I don't understand that. Well, hopefully Ian can help us diagnose, Cindy. So today's equinox. Is it? Official day of spring? Oh, nice. 20th? Yeah, I guess it is 20th day. Yeah. I don't know the dates anymore. I just go day by day. Let's see. Woodturning tool store. That's me. Roger. StreamYard link goes to red screen. Have to watch on mute Facebook. Oh, that's sad. So Cindy, I don't know if you can confirm on StreamYard site if that's the same thing you're seeing, but we'll get to you in a second, and you can let me know. Let's see. Robert, I'm just seeing if there's questions. So there's a question from KK. Is it an optical illusion? It appears that the higher edges are narrower than the lower ones. No, well, it is a bit of an optical illusion, but I think I've gotten them straightened out now. So if I take a look at it, so the top edge, this one is narrower. Maybe it's maybe got a little not quite concentric on the chuck after the after between centers. But overall, it's fairly close. We could probably measure it, but it's a bit of an optical illusion because this edge is actually at a slant, and so maybe it looks a little bit wider, but I think it is the same thickness all the way around. So this one looks really narrow, and I think what happens is when I scrape that leading edge, just as it happens with sanding too. That's why you really don't want to sand natural edge with a power sander or undulating edges with a power sander, because your leading edge is going to get hit first, and it's going to take most off of the leading edge after an air gap. So this point and this point will probably get the hardest hit with the tool, and so that may be why that appears narrower there. So and also it may have moved because it's not fully dry wood. Good question, KK. Thanks. Let's see. Glenn, good to have you here. Thank you for joining again. And let's see, Ed Sims. Lots of people here. So thanks for joining. So let me get out the sanding jig that I'm going to use for this little guy. And it is actually one of my modular handle pieces to let you know. So I've been using these, making and using these modular handles for 6 years now, I guess. And they are threaded 1x8. All the connection pieces, the sockets, the adapters are threaded 1x8. And so I've got a little adapter to go 1 1/4 by 8 down to 1x8. I've got this little wooden spacer because the threads internally here aren't as deep as that guy. So, but we can thread my handle. On this end, I've got a 1/4 inch adapter. Ouch. There's my helmet, face shield. So I can put on a sanding mandrel. Don't think that one's reaching. There we go. And then sandpaper. Oh, do I have any out? I do have some somewhere. I know it. You know, there's always one thing I forget to bring out. That's the way it goes. Not in there. I guess it's down below. And well, shout out to Steve, turningwood.com. So these look, oh, these are, yeah, okay, used. I can show that too. Might be useful on this tool. Should I go one to probably 180, I think. It's probably going to be a little coarse maybe for this softer wood, but you'll get the idea. So, and a smaller sanding mandrel might be beneficial too. So, speed way down, up, and there we go. And Joe was asking about, oh, you know what? I got myself sidetracked again on not stopping on those slides. So let me do that. I keep forgetting. So here we are. This is what we're supposed to be doing today. We'll look at these later. Fairly simple stuff, but let's get to, whoops, wrong button. If you need to get a hold of me, here I am. And I'm a little back and forth on my topic here right now, just because I forgot to get to this stuff. So, but if you need to get a hold of me, that's how to do it. Check out the website. Cindy does this every week, every other week to mine, so every 2 weeks. And so every Friday you find either her or I at this time, and on our YouTube channels or StreamYard, hopefully, if it's working. And she and I and Joe, as well as Steve Worcester, are all part of the vendor showcase. In fact, maybe I'll just take myself off for a second. So Cindy and Joe, thanks for joining. I appreciate it. And I forgot to send out the internal link to the others. So that's my bad. But vendor showcase is a couple of weeks away. 3 weeks, I think. 3, maybe 4. So anyway, you guys got your collaborations in the works?
We're working on it. I've got something, by the way, Joe, we just talked about this like a couple days ago.
Yeah.
I've got an egg box almost done and ready to send you so you can have your hand at painting it. So the question is, you don't like to paint something that's sanded as fine as I do?
Correct.
What do you like?
Well, and this is information for everybody.
Yeah.
When you put any finish on wood, any surface finish like paint, like lacquer, like shellac, they use a mechanical bond. They're gripping into the wood. So they need something with a little bit of tooth. So if you sand it super fine, the finish doesn't have as good a mechanical hold. So you really want to sand. I usually sand to 220 max. Yeah, that means you don't have to sand. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Because you start at 400, so you're already done.
Well, not all the time, but yeah, okay. 240 it is then.
Yeah. And that's as high as I go. I always wet and I do after I do like 180, I wet the whole thing down to raise the grain. Then I sand it because any of your wet finishes, especially water-based ones, are going to raise grain. You'd really rather have that happen without the finish on there than with the finish.
Yeah, that's a good
So I always wet it, let it dry for a few minutes. Here in San Diego, probably where you are too, and where Todd is, it'll dry really fast. And then away I go. I put one more sand on it with 180 or 220, usually 220, and then I'm done.
Yeah, so tips like this are what you get from Vendor Showcase.
Absolutely.
You ought to show up.
Yeah. So it's great tip, Joe. And I just a quick question: do you put a sealer coat down before you airbrush paint?
And I do, yes. So after I do all the
Here it
sanding,
is.
I put sealer down. Now I usually use lacquer for
Okay.
my seal coat, and because it's convenient, it's not the best product necessarily, but I use rattle can lacquer. The
Yeah.
only thing I will say is whatever lacquer, if you're going to use lacquer for your seal coat, stay with that same product all the way through to the very end if you're going to finish. Don't
Right.
mix different brands of lacquer. They might be chemically different. I'll give you an example. I use a really high quality pre-catalyzed lacquer for my really quality pieces especially when I do batches, I spray gun it on. And then I had something where I wanted to change the design of a piece, so I turned off a little bit, and then I used rattle can lacquer on top of that, and it turned it into a gooey mess.
Oh yeah.
And I basically had to turn the whole surface off and start over.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's good to know. And there's lots, like Cindy said, there's going to be lots of stuff to learn at Vendor Showcase. We do a 4-hour session, and we have 6 of us participating this year. We got a special guest, Carl Jacobson from Niles Bottle Stoppers, this spring. And so each of us do sort of a mini demo, something like this, if you will, and then talk about our tools. And so that's all split up throughout those hours. And we also, during those hours, you're bidding on these auction items, and the auction items are our collaborative turnings. I've got my a little bit of my carving texturing done on my thing. Oops.
Ooh.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's
so
cool.
there's a little bit done mostly on this guy. I've got a lot more to do on this bottom half, but yeah. So there's some really neat texture there, and then of course some top coat of paint and finishes and stuff to go on it. But
Wow.
I'm hoping to do more of that today. But that's the bidding process during the auction, during the charity event, or during the Vendor Showcase charity auction, and
To
Steve
benefit
Worcester,
the Food Bank of North Texas.
yes,
Right?
North Texas Food Bank.
North Texas Food Bank.
Yeah,
Okay.
ntfb.org. And it's the food bank that feeds all of the Metroplex here in probably 4 or 5 counties. So
Wow.
millions of people. So it's a big one, and it's a charity that Steve and I like a lot. And so Empty Bowls, do a lot of that through the clubs for the food bank as well. Anyway, so yeah, all kinds of hopefully specials. We'll see. We'll have some specials that weekend on tools and equipment and coupons or whatever it may be. So click the register button in the emails or the links in the chat. And then I think that's all. You and I have a sharing session that we had scheduled. I think it's in June.
It's in May, and
May.
let me look it up.
Yeah,
I think it's early in May.
Right. Oh, we just lost you. We just lost Cindy. It's in May. We'll find it, and I think she clicked on her browser window instead of whatever she was looking for. Anyway, we'll get back to it. We'll announce Vendor Showcase more. Thanks, Joe. Thanks for joining, and I shall get back to the stuff here. So yeah, check out that Vendor Showcase, April 11th. It's going to be a lot of fun. We look forward to every year. So we are back at the. Oh, you made it back. So Cindy,
I got kicked out. I don't know why.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, we'll find more about our sharing session in our emails and stuff. But anyway, I put a squishier pad between the sandpaper and the mandrel, so that's going to conform a bit better to the inside. This pad's a bit big for this small bowl, but I'll show the outside because that's really what I do as well on bowls that have a natural edge. And I was going to show Joe if he's probably still watching, but he'd asked about my mount for my dust collector hose, and it's just a big magnet on the bottom of this base and a arm that kind of turns I made these long ago for camera mounts, but now it's a magnetic mount on my banjo. And then that, if I zoom out, just kind of slides up, gets close, and move that wherever we need it. And that's my sanding dust collector. So if I turn that on. So sanding here, I'm going to try and get this rough spot here. Maybe a bit more speed. Maybe back that down a little bit. And just doing that. And you got to stay on, obviously, the downward rotation of the thing. If you go on the upside, you're kind of fighting yourself a little bit there. So this is a good, safe way to kind of get a natural edge piece sanded up. I've got 180 on here. And just kind of drawing across that edge all the way along. That's feeling good. That's pretty much gone a little bit right there. That's pretty much gone. And so that's a great sanding tool on the lathe. Use a big 5 or 6 inch wide one, and you can get a lot of sanding area on that kind of thing. So handy to be able to use that. I can also take off the 1/4 inch adapter off this handle, stick on an adapter with 3/8, put a buffing wheel on it if I'm going to buff. So so that's one way to go. And just briefly look at the other sanding tools I kind of showed in the promo. This thing, if I can get to it, in the promo shot there. So one, simple sanding disc. So direct threading onto your spindle is as great and easy. You don't need a chuck, anything like that. So get yourself a tap, 1 1/4 by 8, whatever you have for a spindle, and it's a great way. It's a inexpensive piece of poplar. I don't know why I made it so thick. Didn't really need to, but it is. I think that's the board thickness I picked up. You can also use a bigger one. I've got some 2 plies of MDF. I don't know if it's MDF or not medium, but heavy density board onto another piece of poplar, direct threaded as well. That goes on. So these are great for sanding things. And if I put this one on briefly, the little one, I will bring out the special guest that I have as well, which is, of course, my little rabbit I talked about in my newsletter this week. So Cindy did a whole demo, teaching demo on eggs and egg box, and she's doing an egg box with Joe for the vendor showcase. This is a couple of eggs I turned. That was 2022. I looked at the photos of this guy, and yeah, it was 2022 when I turned this. So in the newsletter, I linked to my live stream video where I kind of talked about making this guy. So check that out. You can also find it on the website as well. This is from, I think, April 2022, somewhere in there. It's on the YouTube channel as well, under the live section. But these sort of flats were sanded on this sanding disc. The feet weren't there. Those were glued on later. But that flat was sanded. And more importantly, this sort of flat area with this sort of raised area was sanded a lot by right up against the edge of the wheel. Doesn't get it quite round enough. You have to use a Dremel tool or a carving tool to get that sort of carved out. But that area was sanded right up to the edge. That's why I got sandpaper right to the edge. And nice smooth sanding wheel here, so it doesn't really disturb too much. And so that sands. And then, so you get that egg, and that was laid out at about a 35 degree angle from the flat to where the egg is kind of going. So I found that to be a good position for how the rabbit kind of looks. So, and now with the magnets, you've got a posable head. So when he looks at you, he can look at you either way. So yeah. Anyway, the ears are actually an egg as well. I use the carving stand to saw that with a little hand saw, and then chiseled these out with actually hand chisels and I think power tools eventually as well. The face was sculpted off the egg by using this guy as well, just right in the. He's getting focus. Let's move that out of the shot, and that's not focusing. Let me bear with me a second as I. That is too close to focus. That was it. All right. So these eye sockets were sanded off here, but they're also sanded on my drum sander. It's hard to do it with the ears in the way, but basically in those eye sockets to get that sort of mouse shape to the head, the ears, and the eyes. So yeah, this is a handy tool. Use this for my piston box demo, which I'll be actually doing next weekend for Totally Turning. So that'll be fun. And then the other sort of drum sander is, again, one of my handle pieces. I'll go to overhead again. On that same adapter, I've wrapped this with Velcro. And if you use this Abranet, you get a nice sanding drum. So that is very handy. Have that on your spindle, maybe a cone center up here to hold it, and you got a good sanding drum. And that's how I shape my, used it a lot for the spatulas. So if you're doing a spatula, you get the nice curve, thin blade, and you can sand that on that sanding drum. So lots of good ideas in terms of sanding on the lathe. And you've got the power here, you got the power head. You don't necessarily need a new tool, although tool acquisition is always a thing. So that's fine too. And then if you're sanding at the lathe, a sanding platform is also a handy thing to use and have and set up. So that's helpful too, to be able to sand at the lathe, have a nice sanding table if you're doing some flat work and stuff like that. So yeah, very handy stuff to work with. And KK says, yeah, Totally Turning in Saratoga, your local club. So good. Yeah, I'll be a virtual demonstrator there. So check out the virtual room. I think I'm doing Saturday, I'll say it's 1:30 Eastern time. So yeah, it should be fun. Looking forward to that. Let's see. Oh, that's a good thing to know. I think you mentioned this last time, Todd. Provide 116 million physical meals in 2025. That is a lot of food served. Well done. Oops, missed the thing there. No, Cindy, no. It's not allowed. No heckling. No heckling allowed. So that should be fun. So let me put Bunny away and stuff, and see if I can find a bit of a jam chuck around here, and we'll finish off the little bowl. I've got a good 10 minutes left, so let's see if we can take the foot off. Let's see, what do I have here? That's a jam chuck from something. Bear with me a second. I didn't have this fully planned. I wonder if I could use, no, I can't use that. That's not a jam chuck. Nope. If I don't find one in 3 seconds, we'll just make something. That might work. Yeah. Found a piece of box elder. And so we'll stick that in the chuck and try that. Let's see. Try to see what chuck's going to fit the best. That'll work. Overkill, but that's what I got. Okay, this is an SK114 with their, I forget what they call them, piranha jaw like things, or deep grip. Not sure what they are, but they're handy. They're about 3-inch chuck diameter or grip diameter, and so they're kind of in between that 2-inch and 4-inch that sometimes, oops, pulled my handle out of my banjo. Let's back this off, go this way. Okay. I'm about there with that small diameter. So we'll take it that way as well. This is actually, I think, spindle oriented. I'm not sure, to be honest with you, but the way the sawdust was coming off and kind of crumbly. Cuts better this way. So it's almost sticking there as it is. So we're on the right track. Not really trying to get it to grip all that much, although it's gripping nicely. But I want to get it to where I can kind of tape it on there as well when it's centered. And the high side's gripping quicker if I switch that around, take that off. The high side's gripping here before the low side, low edge. So I need to kind of taper this down up here. So that means right at that bump, it sounded pretty positive. And live center. All right. And let's see how well that holds. Will we have another blow up? No. Not allowing it. Okay, get my little spindle gouge maybe. Oh, I got my little. Let me start with a little bowl gouge I just sharpened. It's a little bit off, but that's fine. It'll be an imperfect, perfect bowl. Just see where that edge is. Okay. A little bit of a rim there. No, it's gone, so we'll take that away. Was that a big enough foot? I got to come up a bit further. I'm not going terribly fast, so my feed rate is pretty slow. So I'm not pushing too hard. Where'd that little one go? There it is. Little spindle gouge. And undercut the foot a little bit. Maybe a slightly bigger foot. Stop, take a quick look. Cut looks good underneath here, so looks good. This will have to sand out at the end, which is fine. Okay, we'll do a little bit more speed. And Put a little groove in there, so that was just a little groove. Just back and forth, going very gently. Call that done. Left a little nub there, so that's good. We didn't pull anything out. And a little bit of scraping, perhaps, if I can get away with it. Let's just pop that around. I don't know if that's any better, but and a bit of sanding there. So let's take a look at this guy. Again, hand sanding or sanding at the lathe is going to finish this guy off. Another option for doing what needs to be done. Look at that jam chuck. It's not too bad. It's sticking on there. There we go. Little nut bowl. So now get back that sanding pad on there and finish sanding up this eccentricity that came out on the turning. So, and cute little nut ball. I really like the profile there. So it's kind of nice. Almost like you'd pour something out of it. But anyway, that's done. That's done. I think my time is done. So I've got a few questions up here, I guess. Let's see. I'm a volunteer, so I'll be on my best behavior. Good job. Thanks for volunteering for symposiums, KK. Nice. Suggestions for the sanding platform. Suggestions for the so that sanding platform I showed is one I 3D print and sell. I actually got a comment from somebody that said, "Oh, I should, print it in a higher strength material and stuff." But it's meant for sanding, indexing, marking out. It's not a tool rest like this guy. So I think most wood turners would understand that, and it is plenty strong. So that is something I'm kind of still thinking it's strong enough for what I needed to do, but I mean, I could smack on it a bit and get it, but once it's tightened in the platform or on the tool post and stuff, it's really not going anywhere that I don't want it to. It's not like I'm using it for a tool rest. It's not meant for that. So so if you have something like this, or even if you use pipe fitting and a post, that works. I've seen people do that and then screw a piece of plywood down to the platform. That works. There's commercially available ones. I know Bestwood Tools makes a steel one, so you can certainly do that as well. So, but I'm not sure. The other things I've done with it, I've done a little indexing jig to do some marking out and stuff like that. Screwed a wooden platform in to do some indexing on a bowl. But yeah, that kind of stuff. Glenn, would Texas be higher or lower than national average? what was I talking about? That is what that comment is about. Higher and lower than natural. I don't know if it's temperature or Todd says higher. Oh, maybe for the Todd responded. So maybe for the food bank meals delivered. Maybe I don't know. Thanks. Appreciate it. Nice little bowl. Yeah, let me put it up here. Get it on camera. There. So that is, move this one over. I'll get 2 shots of it. Thanks, Todd, for answering that. Paul, thanks very much. Thanks, everybody, for joining. I appreciate it. Yes, have an awesome week and weekend, folks. Stay healthy, stay happy. National average of poverty in the U.S. Okay. Yeah, well, maybe. Also heard that if Texas was a country, it would be the 8th largest economy in the world, which blew my mind. So I don't know if that's true, but that's what I think somebody quoted from the U.S. statistics or something like that. So anyway, Texas has been good to us. We enjoy it here. I've got to get my walls insulated for summer because my insulation dropped, so my AC is not efficient. Anyway, I got lots of things on my mind. So you guys have a great weekend. Hope you enjoyed it. I know it was a bit of mishmash stuff, sanding and a little bowl, but I'll use my sanding spindle on the lathe to finish sanding the outside and the inside of this bowl. And that's how I do sort of natural edge stuff or stuff I can't reach very well otherwise. Yeah, that's it. Thanks very much. Appreciate y'all. And y'all have a good weekend. Be kind to one another. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Well done.